the biggest gold mine in the country was the Rosterman mine in Kakamega. It's actually what caused Kakamega to exist. When you hear a place called the Kolomani, it's Luya, corruption of the English word, the gold mine. Well, my name is Daniel Ichang'i. I'm a professor at the University of Nairobi in the Department of Earth and Climate Sciences now, but we had a department called Geology before they were merged with a reform that the Vice Chancellor put in. I teach the geology of mineral deposits, mainly at the University of Nairobi, among the other courses that we have there. So I graduated from the University of Nairobi in 1979. I proudly say with a first-class honors degree. I also got a master's in 1984 from the same university and a PhD in 1991 from McGill University. I have been chairman of that department. I've been chairman of the Geological Society, and I have also been chairman or president of the Association of Professional Societies in East Africa, APSEA, based at the Professional Center. I'm also a church elder, among many other things. And I teach Sunday school.
Excellent, excellent. Those are quite varied interests and accomplishments. You know, I think you mentioned geology of minerals. So what is that?
Geology, the word geology is geo, the earth, and logos, Greek for science. So earth science. So the earth itself is a planet among a family of planets that go around the sun. And it is the only one we know so far that carries life. This is our home. From the surface to the center of the earth is only about 6,300 kilometers. If you go from the surface right into the center, that's how big it is. So it's a small ball floating around space, around the sun, held by gravity. And its composition is so unique, it allows us to survive, for life to survive, for plants to grow and food to grow. Without the balance of what this earth is, we wouldn't be here. So geology is a science that studies the earth. It is interesting to note that organizations like NASA of US are sending probes to Mars to study geology of Mars. So that is what we do, and we have various components that we look at as we try to understand the makeup of this fantastic home that is the earth.
So maybe you could talk in general about Africa's wealth before we come to Kenya.
Africa is a very, very rich continent. It is so rich that in history, many Africans have been killed, especially by our colonial masters, and maimed and displaced on account of these resources. And even today it is happening, but it is at a more subtle level, where financial instruments and arrangements go against us. You saw the recent coup in Niger, where the French were accused of taking uranium, which they used to generate power, huge amounts of power, for next to nothing. So Africa is very rich, and certain parts of Africa have traditionally been very productive. When you think about Southern Africa, for example, and I don't use it as South Africa, I'm saying Southern Africa, including the Republic of South Africa, mining has been going on for a long time. Ghana was called Gold Coast. Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, and Zambia, DRC, are known to carry a lot of minerals. Nigeria has been having a terrific oil and gas industry which has gone amok and has precipitated even changes of government through non-constitutional means. If you look at the Northern Africa, Libya, and all the changes that have gone through, that these are crises that have come as a result of the immense wealth that Africa has. So Africa is very, very rich in mineral resources, and we may speak later as to how to look at the mineral resources and try and put some order to it.
One of the countries that is to be found in Africa is Kenya. But the perception has been that although all these other countries are so mineral rich, Kenya has nothing.
That is not true. Because whoever created the earth is not discriminatory. But the application of knowledge and technology, where knowledge and technology and consistency have been applied, you have had greater discoveries. Unfortunately, for this part of Africa, people have tended to focus on other areas, agriculture, coffee, which you know doesn't bring much benefit to anybody except to the auctioneers. So the perception that Kenya has no minerals is, in my opinion, wrong. It may end up benefiting future generations more, because if you don't discover the minerals and you wait, maybe the prices and the economic regime will change for the benefit of upcoming generations. But it is not true at all that this region is poor. I do not agree with it, but I've heard that comment, and it's something that people sing and sing until they begin to believe that that is the truth. When I look at, there's what we call the periodic table of elements. When we do chemistry, there are about 103 natural ones and plus a few others. These elements are to be found in minerals, many of them. So my crude subdivision for the purposes of this talk are that we can talk about metals, we can talk about non-metals and industrial minerals and rocks, as well as energy minerals. So metallic, non-metallic, industrial rocks and minerals, and energy minerals. There is one other mineral that is very important, water. And people tend not to know that water, for example, if you look at a nation like Israel, by using their water prudently, they have actually revolutionized agriculture, which has driven the economy so that they are a first nation now. So we have metallic minerals in this country, and we can talk about their nature. We have non-metallic minerals, industrial minerals, and rocks. We have energy minerals, including oil and gas, which we can call mineral oil, and we have water. So what don't we have? I think the more prudent question is to ask, so why are we not using the opportunities these minerals provide to move? Yes. But I believe we are very well placed now.
Good. I think we come to that because I think it's so pertinent. But I wanted us to go through these categories one by one.
Yes.
The metallic minerals, which are some of the examples of minerals?
Again, metallic minerals you can divide precious and non-precious, well, not precious, but costly. But the gold, for example, and silver do exist in this country, in Western Kenya, in Nyanza, in probably coast areas, in Turkana, and I've heard it mentioned even in Kitui. So gold is there, and it has always been mined. There was the biggest gold mine in the country was the Rosterman mine in Kakamega. It's actually what caused Kakamega to exist. When you hear a place called Ikolomani, it's a Luya corruption of the English word, the gold mine, Ikolomine, the Ikolomani. You go to Migori, where I did my PhD, gold mining even today is taking place. So, and the area continues. You know, the geology doesn't stop at the political boundary between Kenya and Tanzania. Northern Tanzania has many, many mines now. And it has moved Tanzania to probably position number 2 in gold production on this continent, or 3, 2 or the third ranked gold producer in this country, in the continent. So gold is there, silver is there. Then you can look for other things like lead, zinc, copper. Those ones, iron, obviously. Even our own fathers and warriors would make knives using indigenous technologies. All these minerals are there. So that is metallic.
One of the things that I have read recently is that China has been buying iron ore from Australia.
Yes.
And yet, from what you're saying, we do have iron ore in this country, in various places in this country. So why can't we export it even in its non-refined
Yes. One of the things we have to be careful with is that no mineral really does occur singly. If you have a gold ore, it's likely to carry silver as well. If you have a copper, zinc, sulfide ore, it will have some gold as an accessory. So the iron ores of Australia are very, very rich, and they are huge. And China is a giant of an economy. So the scale at which they are operating there certainly is not the scale we would be operating with here. So ours is to use what we have at a scale that benefits our people. But I'm sure if today you could load a 50,000 ton ship with iron ore in Mombasa, China would buy it from you, for sure. So the market is not the issue. It's the economics of the production. Does it make commercial sense? And so on and so forth.